This is the best of the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
If you are just joining us, my father was just yanked off the air for cursing. My father represents everything I hate in sports fans. He fires Eric Spoelstra after every game. He has spent, 18 months ripping Dwayne Wade on television in a way that no one can drag him off of, even as he gets free media credentials, season tickets from the Heat. He's always eating their free food. He's complaining to the owner of the team that the potato chips, the bag has too much air in it.
Right.
That's a thing he actually did. I'm not making that up.
It's a fair complaint, I mean.
I love seeing your dad at a Heat game wearing a media credential, haunting the room with free food.
Yes.
It just delights me every time.
Guillermo, can you put it on the poll, please? Is it right that my father asks the owner of the Heat or complains to the owner of the Heat about the air in the bags of potato chips that he gets for free at Heat games?
Why do you think they call him Mickey Harrison?
It's a good try, though, man. You went for it.
I know.
That was an uppercut.
Take big hacks, man.
That's your ally.
Congratulations on your comedy ally there.
I liked it, man. If I had the controls, I would have given myself the laugh. I got to be honest with you. But I don't. And that's the reason why.
So we're going to celebrate Dwayne Wade around here today because Miami got a throwback game last night. And if you have ever known in sports the idea of a personality growing up in front of your eyes, going from taking loans in college to pay for his diapers and seen that man grow up through divorce, through marrying a starlet, through writing a book about raising boys and being a father, and so through social causes, through charitable events in this city, nobody in the history of this town, not even Dan Marino, has meant more to the sports connection of this town than this man who won a championship by himself and then brought his buddies over here to make them the biggest thing in sports. And now he returns, and last night he goes out and he gives you a country western song. Chris Cote put this together, but if you're moved by country music, and many of you won't be moved by any of this, you'll find it syrupy, you'll find it hacky. It will not have an emotional investment of any kind for you to see a broken 36-year-old dude take 18-foot jumpers, these looping shots over Ben Simmons.
Buttery.
As Ben Simmons comes to take his stuff.
Ben Simmons, 6'10" point guard.
That's right, 6'10". He is an extraterrestrial. And Dwayne Wade broke him and Philadelphia over his knee last night. He gave you a legendary performance by a legend at an age when you don't get to be efficient like that. At the end, man, Michael Jordan was just taking jumpers, too, and he wasn't making very many of them because it's hard to get to the rim, and it'll break your body. And Dwayne Wade's body has been broken by trying to get his points at the rim all these years.
And when Wade does that at age 25, I don't care what he says, he can't appreciate it the way he appreciated it last night.
Well, of course not. He doesn't know how many of these he has left.
That's right.
I mean, any one of these could be his last
Well, but
one.
I didn't know he had this one left.
Right.
I thought he had a shot, not a game. I thought he had a moment, not a game.
Maybe 5 minutes down the stretch of a game.
I did not think he had another game in him. He broke the Sixers. They were coming back. The Heat were scared. The lead was leaking. He's the only guy in the building. Who knows? Who knows? He's the only guy.
You're right.
There's nobody there. There's nobody else there.
Nobody.
And he's been
disappeared.
there. And he's been there countless times.
Whiteside, their max player, bench, get out of here. Dumb fouls all over the place. You can't handle this. Go away. Winslow trying his best on defense, but his only 2 points are thrown hard against the backboard, and he's so happy he starts flexing because he's got no touch.
Dragic, their all-star, hampered by knee tendonitis and foul trouble.
And the process, the team that represents youth in that sport, here comes next. There's nothing better in sports, is there, than what Philadelphia has right now, which is seeing a guy or a team grow up, seeing the pain, seeing the breaks, seeing the losses, and then seeing it mature into what you thought it was. Philadelphia is coming for that. Dwayne Wade's known it. He's lived it. Mm-hmm. Like he is the stuff Ben Simmons wants is in Dwayne's rearview mirror, and Ben Simmons went to get it last night, and Dwayne Wade said no.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm going to still. You're going to bring your long ass out here to guard me on the perimeter, and I am going to have to hit whatever those Mo Cheeks and Moses Malone banners or whatever. I'm going to have to throw the ball up there to make it to go through the basket. But I'm going to. That's a young Philadelphia team, even if Ilyasova and Bellinelli are out there rotting.
Oh, my God. I mean, what a core. Embiid, Simmons. If Fultz turns out to be the player who had the triple-double at age 19 a week ago, what a nucleus.
Right. Plus more picks, more assets, and they have Covington as well. Very good team, man.
Yeah. And Dwayne Wade went in the Wayback Machine last night.
Such a great night for Miami. Such a great night for Wade. 26 minutes. Mike, how sore do you think Wade is today?
From the game or the sex?
Dan Le Batard.
Greg, are you going to say anything? Or are you just going to sit there checking the internet?
When I have something to say, I say it. What I was thinking of as you said that was that I think Black History Month is also split into 2 half months, which is terrible.
That's not true.
It's
the
not
first
true?
half and the second half of February.
There you go.
Right.
Stugotz.
No, it's February into March, isn't it?
No, it's February.
No, it's
Hang on.
Good contribution, though, when you decided to talk. That was good.
Black History
Chris,
Month.
yeah, you're, Greg.
I'm like a dog with a bone on this. I'm wrong. Okay.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Introducing the all-new ESPN app, now with ESPN Plus. What's ESPN Plus? It's ESPN's new streaming service available right in the ESPN app, and it's awesome. With ESPN Plus, for just $4.99 per month, you get thousands of live sporting events, including MLB, NHL, MLS, and top-ranked boxing, and a full library of movies and documentaries, including the entire 30 for 30 collection. And our listeners can take advantage of a 30-day free trial of ESPN Plus presented by Amex by signing up with the ESPN app today. The all-new ESPN app featuring ESPN Plus. Check it out today. Greg Cote giving the Straight Talk is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts.
We are a Miami show, proudly Miami. Greg Cote of the Miami Herald has been writing sports in this market for 4 decades. But if you think today that you will not like our Dwayne Wade talk, because we are going to be intensive on Dwayne Wade for a variety of reasons that have very little to do with sports and everything to do with the connections that get made emotionally between our artists, our entertainers, and our community.
Because people outside of South Florida are ripping us. They're
That's
saying,
fine.
hey, you want a playoff game, get over it, act like you've been there.
No, of course. And this is the reason we're doing this, just so you understand it, because a texter writes in, that song was about as poorly done as it could have been under the circumstances. If you are listening to this stuff and you don't have any emotional connection, if your emotional connection is just, I pay attention to sports, but it's not a real emotional investment in someone you've seen grow up, because I want to ask you guys this question. What's better for a fan base than what the Sixers presently have, which is you're going to get to see all these guys.
76ers might know what they're doing. You mean with the process stuff? Was this another form of the process? Where you get to wait again?
Don't you think they know this? That obviously the injury is more concerning. Don't you think they'd want him out there?
Let me tell you something.
Of course they'd want him.
They ain't gay. What did he say? The man has been on the record saying they're babying him. That's what he said.
You're missing the point about the vulnerability. Molly, Stephen A.
Go ahead.
Kids at home.
Oh, kids at home. Kids at home.
It is not.
All right, this is where we leave you, Max. Once
Kids
we
at
get
home.
to the kids at home portion, we are gone. But what's the better feeling that a sports fan base can have? Give me the one. I mean, outside of winning the championship, than winning the championship with a team that you've seen grow up before your eyes, maturing, suffering, losing, Markelle Fultz being broken, Ben Simmons.
Sixers don't play Joel Embiid, and they lose this series. When would the series end? Is it safe to say maybe April 24th?
Okay.
About a week from today?
Okay.
And I mean, when the season start next season? November?
Yeah.
Excuse me, deal with the thing then. And listen, if the man, if something happens to his eye,
You think they can't beat Miami without Embiid?
Let me give you another scenario. What if they win?
They're talking about Joel Embiid, and they're talking about that he thinks they're babying him. And I love when we're doctors on television.
It's so funny. I miss the NBA playoffs, and I love it every year because the violent swings that the media takes from after game one, they can get past the Heat without Embiid, and now just bring him back at all costs.
It's weird, right? It's weird and it's funny. Man, that process is not about this season. That process is about where they are years from now, and you need to keep that dude healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you're a Sixers fan, you're going, wow, we should be really good for the next 12 years. And what other team in the NBA can say that?
But there's nothing more important in Philadelphia, maybe in Philadelphia sports, but certainly in Philadelphia basketball, than keeping that dude healthy.
You think Hassan Whiteside's rooting for Joel Embiid to come back? And not because of competitive nature and a rivalry, because it's the only way he can do anything on the court.
For minutes?
He was awful yesterday, getting dumb fouled, sent to the bench, 15 minutes. You got a max player doing nothing, and then Dwayne Wade is bailing them out with in a way that's funny and great. And, I mean, he's arguing with Kevin Hart during the game, and then on Twitter he's telling Kevin Hart that he's not welcome in Miami, and he puts a wedding ring emoji up there to signalize.
Put the man back in the lineup Saturday, game 4, if you lose game 3. Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes. Oh, to you, Mr.
No.
D. Oh, really?
No, because you settle for mediocrity.
Oh, you do.
No.
You do.
It's about winning championships in Philadelphia.
Careful with that word. That sounded like the word my father got dumped for.
Because Beetlejuice, Maximilian, whatever you want to go by.
Pluralize
I'm sorry. I may be missing something. Did you become a doctor and I didn't know this? Are you trying to tell me that
He's basically a doctor. He's that
Are you trying to tell me that orbital bone can't be fixed by October if something happens?
I'm not a Dr. Molly, but I played one on this show.
Where's the loser game show sound for that? Where is it? That wasn't a funny joke.
Which one? What?
The Kellerman joke at the end. I played one on the show.
Here's Stugotz. He can do every show better than everyone else. Here he is. Here comes the program director. Here he comes.
I just thought it'd be funny to have imaging from our show reacting to their show.
What kind of joke was that? What did they just really go back with and forth with? I'm not that. You're that. Is that something that just happened?
Are you a doctor? No, here's my diagnosis.
No, right. But didn't they have a back and forth that was almost literally just seconds ago? Not me, you are. I'm not that, you are.
Oh, God, I love that show so much. Yep. It's the best thing we do.
No doubt.
Maybe ever.
Yep. That sports debate, man.
Better than SportsCenter. Better than anything this network has done.
First Take is the best thing in the history of the network.
Yeah,
or Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith in particular.
Yeah, no, well, that's the best thing in the history.
Yelling into a camera.
Yes,
it's amazing.
Yes, it is. Anyway, getting back to this Dwayne Wade revolution and rejuvenation last night, Mike. Here's the thing: where is that? I understand that if you're not moved by the emotional, syrupy roots of this kind of story, it ends up all sounding to you like that Carolina Panthers guy while they were making their 15-1 run during the season, who the Carolina Panthers loved this guy and he was terrible, and the rest of us did nothing but laugh at this guy who Cam Newton was great, and there was just this fan in Carolina who got caught up in the Cam Newton 15-1 frenzy, and what happened after that?
Carolina Panthers with sharp teeth and claws. We growl to win this game. We call pro football. Our offense and defense so intense. Your team will be the losers if you got a lick of sense. You dig the NFL, my lyrics and my rhymes. You eat up what I'm saying, spit and fly hip-hop lines. Lightning fast, big black cats, Panthers kicking. Yo, with a TD or a field goal, gonna get that W, dominate the foe. Carolina Panthers with sharp teeth and claws. We growl to win this game. We call pro football.
His roar is really good.
Don Batard.
Well, coffee is America's drink. A man is never more a man than when he's got a cup of coffee in his hands. Although I love it when I see a woman drinking coffee.
Stugotz.
Coffee means hot coffee. Iced coffee works against the coffee brand. Coffee is hot coffee. It can be black, it can be sweetened, lightened, but coffee is hot coffee, but unquestionably, that's America's drink.
Can't be a Frappuccino?
No.
Right.
No.
Does it not go without saying that would be an excellent back in my day if you believe in this so strongly? The idea that coffees have mutated into all of these flavors that are unacceptable to you?
I think I did one of those. One of my most popular ones. Coffee!
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Penzo Performance Line. Brian Windhorst going to be there in 1 hour, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Get the feeling of being rewarded with gold status at Shell with the Fuel Rewards program. Download the Fuel Rewards app. Join and start saving 5 cents a gallon today. Here's your SportsCenter update. Following the 76ers Game 2 loss to the Heat, and injured Joel Embiid went to vent on Instagram, saying that he's, quote, bleeping sick and tired of being babied. Nick Mangold has retired, and finally, 247 Sports is reporting that ESPN's Mina Kimes is reporting that the Steelers are going to trade up to take Lamar Jackson.
She reported that yesterday on the show in her her A-plus mock draft.
For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Greg Cote of the Miami Herald in with us. If you're just joining us, we were talking earlier about the idea that T.J. McConnell, who plays for the Sixers, looks like every person in your life ever named Shane. And so now a white Shane has written in, I'm a white Shane, and I've met 2 black Shanes in my life. We were arguing about whether Shane is a white person name or a black person name. Another guy writes in here, Greg Popovich looks like Santa Claus going through a midlife crisis. Does he, Guillermo? Yeah. Can you put it on the poll? Does Greg Popovich look like Santa Claus going through a midlife crisis? Looks a lot less genius, doesn't he, when Duncan and Kawhi aren't out there? And he's running everything through LaMarcus Aldridge.
When they're losing, he kind of looks like a crazy person.
Yeah.
The winning is such a shine.
It erases everything, Mike.
I mean, right?
That Kawhi thing, though. I mean, he pretty much called Kawhi out in that post-game press conference.
I know, but what they're saying is it's so funny about Popovich. Popovich is the guy from the Saw movies, man. He's just got titles and political opinions. But if he didn't have titles and political opinions, in fact, if he had no titles and the political opinions, he'd be the guy from Saw. Like, what's that guy's name? Crazy villain from Saw.
Jigsaw? Or was that the puppet? What was the guy's name? I never paid attention to the plot.
I'm checking it out. Why would you?
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Have you ever paid attention to the plot of the Saw movies?
Are there plots?
Kind of. There are plots. Yes, there is a plot. It's all masterminded by that genius, Greg Popovich. So, Greg Cote of the Miami Herald is in with us. And again, the thing that I wanted to talk about, because I feel like sports fans everywhere can understand this. Tom Brady, what is the greatest relationship in sports? Right now, it might be Brady and Kraft, because the Patriots have gone to the extraordinary lengths of publicly saying Tom Brady can end his career the way that he wishes. They've said this on television, the Kraft family. And then they neutered Belichick by taking out Garoppolo, who we all think is good. Garoppolo would have been the future for 10 years at quarterback. It seems like they got rid of him just for Brady. The relationship that Brady has with that team, that city, that ownership group seems to be the most emotional you'll find anywhere in sports. They've seen him grow from 6th-round pick through the Deflategate scandals, through very few struggles. They didn't see him struggle very much.
Jigsaw, a.k.a. the Jigsaw Killer, a.k.a. John Kramer.
I want to know the best relationships in sports between athlete and city. Does LeBron James have a closer relationship to Akron than Dwayne Wade has to Miami? Now, he was born there, and he brought the only title in...
Oh, no, I think Wade is much closer to Miami than than LeBron is to Cleveland or Akron.
Why would you think that?
I don't know. Just Wade's been here for so long. He's won 3 championships.
LeBron was born there, though.
I understand. Yeah, but you know what, Dan? The place where LeBron was born, Dwayne Wade convinced him to leave that place and come down here and to win some championships here. I just feel like Wade means more to that city and has done more for that city than LeBron has done for his cities. I
don't see how you're arriving
because
at that
he left for 4 years, Dan. LeBron left for 4 years. There's a 4-year window.
Wade left for 2 and went to school at Marquette.
Yeah, but it was 2 years on the back end of his career. LeBron left 4 years in his prime.
Cleveland vilified LeBron when he left. When Dwayne left, you didn't see many jerseys burning.
There weren't jerseys burning, but there were people plenty mad that he left for money.
It wasn't like LeBron leaving Cleveland.
Overwhelmingly, it was mourning in this town. Not anger.
More than anger. That's right.
That's towards correct. Dwayne. And he was only gone for a year and a half, and it felt like forever.
So what is it? So give me what you would nominate. Beyond Brady and New England, who is the athlete right now that has the deepest? Because Kevin Durant is now a mercenary.
Yeah. Might have been Tim Duncan when he was active.
Big Papi in Boston, even though he's retired, that's a great example, I feel.
How about Drew Brees in New Orleans?
A great one.
Yeah.
That is good because he brought them a title, but it's not quite the same thing because he started with another team.
How about Dirk in Dallas?
That one's good. That one's good because he's taken all the discounts. He's now at the
end.
Won a
championship.
He's again, but it's 3 championships, and Wade brought the biggest thing in sports history to that time. To this, that was the biggest thing in sports from 2010 through 2014. Wade brought it here. Before that, he won a championship where that city councilwoman betrayed him by publicly. It's one of our favorite bits. We have told you before that the punchline to this joke is not Dwayne Wade, superior legendary athlete. It is a guy in a brown suit who is going to his job as an accountant with a briefcase. His name is Wade Jones. This is a city councilwoman celebrating Dwayne Wade, calling him on stage after the 2006 championship. She is introducing himself to the people they all know, a star in the making. Dwayne Wade had a Michael Jordan's type final, and this is how she introduced him to the cheering masses.
He's calm, collected, has a will to win because his name, of course, is Wade Jones.
Okay. Wait, no, it's not silence. That's the thing. You say it's silence. It's not silence at all. We have listened to this 100 times, and the funniest part about it is not Wade Jones. The funniest part about it is the random, wandering, echoing who that is.
Cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. What's funnier about that clip? The name being Wade Jones, Dwayne Wade becoming Wade Jones, or the thing that comes after it? Play it again, Mike. The wandering. Who's that?
He's calm, collected, has a will to win because his name, of course, is Wade Jones.
Don't forget, you can hear more of my sons Dan and Stu weekdays starting at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Everyone in the neighborhood knew about Bobby. Bobby, the basketball boy, they called him. Bobby wanted to go pro someday, so he was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. But one day, his mom came out and told him,
"Hey, your wife wants you to take out the trash?"
His mom was visiting, and Bobby was a grown man. He had kind of missed his window. Plus, no one had ever seen him actually make a basket. But on the other hand, Bobby had heard how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. So, it was all good.
Don Batard.
Stugotz lies so much, and he doesn't take inventory of his lies, that even when he's telling the truth, we don't believe him on anything. What's wrong, Stugotz? What are you objecting to?
I mean, listen, I've done this to myself, so I'm frustrated at myself. I'm not going to lash out elsewhere because I understand why everyone would think that I was the one who did this. But I am sitting here telling you guys that I did not do it.
Stugotz.
You absolutely took a bite out of a piece of pizza and put it back with the rest of the pizza.
It was me.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, yes, RVs, and commercial vehicles. At 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Guests like Brian Windhorse on the Darren Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pencil Performance Line. Tune in today to the Stephen A. Smith Show as NBA Boo Don't Like That Commissioner Adam Silver will join him at 1:05 Eastern. And now, your Sports Center Death Metal update. Stanley Cup playoffs, yeah! Maple Leafs beat the Bruins to cut their deficit to 2-1. Devils, my favorite team, took out the Lightning, making their series 2-1. Hail Satan! Avalanche won against the Predators, sending the series to 2-1. That's par for the course, apparently. And the Sharks blew out the Ducks to take a 3-0 lead, killing them. Tonight, the Capitals, losers, take on the Blue Jackets, and the Jets play the Wild. And the Golden Knights look to sweep the Kings. Love Vegas.
That's our team right there.
That's
Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Send us stuff.
Send us stuff.
I want to wear
Send us stuff, Golden Knights.
And finally, 4 baboons collaborated to escape an enclosure at a Texas research facility that houses nearly 1,100 baboons used for biomedical research about chronic diseases such as heart disease and diabetes. For all the latest headlines and information, tune into Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Seems like that hurts, man.
I was going to say, that's a workout.
Well, there was a guy earlier in the show who gave me all of his bona fides on how much he loves the show and understands the show, and he's loved the show for years, and that Death Metal Hockey Guy is the worst character in the history of the show, and he has decided that he is the voice on this.
You saw that?
Yes, he's decided that, look, I understand what funny is. I get to decide, and Death Metal Hockey Guy's not funny. And I don't know whether he's funny or not, but he's invited here to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants.
It's pretty grating.
It is.
He makes us smile.
Yes.
But the guy did it in a series of about 20
Yes,
times.
just his whole bona fides. Look, I know what's funny. So put it on the poll, Guillermo. Death Metal Hockey Guy. Funny or not funny?
Just by last name alone, Windhorse sounds like a metal band. Going to see Windhorse tonight.
Oh, that's a good game. Yeah. Do you want to play that? Last names in sports personalities that connote heavy metal music. I can't wait to see Windhorse tonight.
Wasn't meant to be a character that would speak at, in larger doses.
Right. No, it was meant to be a limited fake character that we have now, of course, as we always do, beaten into the ground. But I want to make fun of Cote here because there's something funny that Cote's totally forgotten. Greg Cote of the Miami Herald. Do you remember writing? Because you're always going for the joke. You can follow Greg Cote on Twitter if you want his jokes. Where can people follow you on Twitter?
At Greg Cote.
So Greg Cote's got a picture of a cork that reads 2014.
Oh, don't go there.
And a wine bottle.
Oh.
That reads by Wade.
Oh.
Allison was good enough to show me this because Greg Cote is going to eat some words right now.
Oh.
So he puts up a picture of a Dwayne Wade wine with a cork that says 2014. Do you care to tell the people before I nuke your entire world?
I don't want to repeat the words I used because I regret that tweet.
All right.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Was given bottle of Dwayne Wade wine, and we're about to taste. It's a 2014, so I guess we're toasting last year of his prime. Ouch. Too soon? And Dwayne Wade responded. Not last night, although then too. In real time, he wrote to Greg Cote, "Be prepared for my comeback, sir. Don't get in your feelings." Now, Greg Cote didn't say any of that. And hell, I wrote the column that ended Dwayne Wade's time here in Miami. So I can't be exonerated on this either. I'm pretty sure Dwayne Wade doesn't want to have anything to do with our show because of that column.
You pushed him out the door, Dan.
That column in the Miami Herald is reported to be the last nail in the coffin that got him out of here because it was a column about Riley and him and their relationship. And I think that their people thought that Riley planted it when he didn't, but it didn't matter at that point. The relationship was broken.
Going to see Van Exel tonight.
Oh, that's good. Nick Van Exel. Doesn't, is it Nick Van Exel? No, it's Mookie Blaylock, right? Was it?
It's Pearl Jam's
original
original
Pearl
name.
Jam, yeah.
Do people know that? Is that a thing that people know?
Well, I think Pearl Jam fans certainly know that. I mean, Mike knew it, and he's not a big Pearl Jam fan.
Did you know? No. Did you know that Pearl Jam's original name, put it on the poll, Guillermo, was Mookie Blaylock, the point guard.
Way. Really?
Oh yeah, that wasn't a joke. No, nobody was joking. Nobody was joking there.
Gosh.
No, the Pearl Jam.
How ridiculous!
Well, that is ridiculous, right? that the biggest, one of the biggest bands in the world would originally be named Mookie Blaylock. Can we go through the career of Mookie Blaylock right now? I would like to do that.
Sure.
To tell people okay, let's backtrack for a second. You've got Pearl Jam.
Yep.
Pearl Jam is Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Whether you like them or not, they're plenty polarizing. But as a band, Eddie Vedder, I remember the regret I had one time. I made fun of Eddie Vedder and the idea that he was playing solo a ukulele.
Don't you dare do that,
I know,
man.
I made fun of it because I thought the idea of it was ridiculous, but I heard it was amazing. I heard everything about it was amazing, that his voice is amazing, that you really don't understand how good Eddie Vedder is until you've seen him stripped down.
Went to those shows, man. They were incredible. He did a couple down here, and they were fantastic. And you have to be careful because you rip Eddie Vedder, and they'll come after you.
Right.
The fan base will come after you.
Okay, but now, again, this is one of the biggest bands in the world, and Eddie Vedder comes from a time we're not even making rock stars anymore. We're making hip-hop stars or pop culture stars or Taylor Swifts or Katy Perry's. We're not doing this anymore with Eddie Vedder's not even allowed to exist, is he? Who the hell is Eddie Vedder now other than all the old rockers? Bruce and, just all the Rolling Stones are still roaming the earth out there.
And Jack White, maybe?
Okay, yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
But he's also, I guess he's mainstream.
Well, if I can just interject, it's reached a point where when there is a new, young, hard rock band, it's like, whoa, where'd they come from? Mike, have you heard of a band called Greta Van Fleet?
Yes.
That's an example of, they play like Led Zeppelin music, but they're all like 19-year-old kids. And they're getting a lot of publicity just for being out of the norm because you're exactly right.
Didn't they play Coachella? Robert Plant really likes them.
Yeah.
But think about this, though. So Pearl Jam. Imagine if I told you right now, hey, guys, did you know that the Beatles or Rolling Stones, did you know that in their original incarnation, they were the band Matthew Dellavedova? Because it's the Mookie Blaylock thing. Like, Mookie Blaylock was a pedestrian NBA player.
One-time All-Star.
Yeah, he was.
Okay,
Yep.
so where?
He was an All-Star in 93, 94. Really, as Pearl Jam started to hit their apex, so did Mookie Blaylock.
Yeah, well, no, really, his apex was at Oklahoma under Billy Tubbs. That's when Mookie Blaylock played his best basketball. But Pearl Jam named their album 10 because of Mookie Blaylock's number.
Who was the better Mookie, Blaylock or Wilson?
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Excellent question. Wow. Better Mookie, Blaylock or Wilson? Is there another Mookie?
I got 2 tickets to Mangold.
Did you get 2 tickets to Mangold?
Yeah, StubHub.
They're
awesome.
great. Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea who's opening for them? Do you have anyone? Does anyone have any ideas who's opening for Mangold? Is it Whitehurst?
Dietrich.
Marlins second baseman, left fielder, Dietrich.
I like their older stuff.
Don Batard.
What do you prefer, flat wings or drumsticks? Because I like drumsticks.
I like drumsticks too, yeah.
Flat rules.
Stugotz.
If people do just drums, though, you'd think there's a bunch of extra flat wings just laying around, right?
Right.
Thank you.
Yep.
I think more people do all flats, though.
No,
Really?
I think more people do drumettes. I'm telling you, more people do the drumettes.
I like drumettes so much more.
No.
In fact, I'd prefer to do all drums.
Flatten it.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Brian Windhorst is going to join the show in about 15 minutes. Get in touch with the show anytime to the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed at Batard Show, at Stugotz790, at Greg Cote. Guys, it's time for Straight Talk. It is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts.
So because you can't have a thought in 2018 that's not attacked by somebody, the amount of people writing in thinking they're clever or fun or just shouting their music superiority because I deigned to put Pearl Jam in the same sentence with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and the amount of come on mans I'm getting from it's a famous band is all I meant.
Right, but I mean, the Beatles are overrated, so that's not going to be a popular stance. They really are. The Stones are okay. They're not Pearl Jam. The Beatles I'm telling you, Dan, the most overrated band in the history of music.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that you think Pearl Jam is better than the Rolling Stones?
100%. Than the Beatles. I didn't say anything about the Stones.
Of course.
The Beatles. Okay? Pearl Jam is by far, Dan, by far, the better band. Get Bomani in on this. I guarantee you, because he's a music expert. Mike is a music expert. I guarantee
Mike doesn't agree with you, and I love that it's your opinion, Bomani's, and Mike's is wrong. Okay, very good. Those are the three people who get to decide.
The music was so basic. It really was. It wasn't very good. It's overrated. They're overrated. McCartney's terrible.
He's a pretty great. I mean, what? He's a great musician. Stugotz, even people could dispute whether or not Paul McCartney is overrated or not. Nobody's saying he's terrible.
Ringo was the star. They held him down. I'm telling you. How about that?
Did you even get the joke you just made?
No.
So Ostertag broke up.
Oh. Ooh. But you know who's getting back together? Nurkic.
So Zarniak.
Whoa!
I saw Dragic open for Iguodala, and they were fantastic.
Dragic is a good one.
Perfect.
I think Iguodala should be opening for Dragic, frankly. Shouldn't Guillermo, put it on the poll. Should Iguodala be opening for Dragic?
Yes. Dragic has to be the main actor.
They've got to be the headliner.
Yeah, I thought it was a weird bill as well.
Thank you to all of you who felt the need to just inundate us with Mookie Bettses. Yes, there is another Mookie other than Wilson and Blaylock.
Ooh, Mookie Betts.
How many Mookies can there be out there? And just like we were talking about earlier, there are no black Shanes. There are no white Mookies, correct?
Yeah, I can't think of one.
I'm just saying, I couldn't think of a lot of Shanes, and then some people, like some guy wrote in, hey, Dan, there aren't any black Jessies, and then you can come back with Owens, and then you got to move on.
I was at the concert when Blackistone played Shea.
Kevin Blackistone tore through the 90s like a close rival to Motley Crue.
I mean, it was basically, you know how the Beatles and the Stones were? It was Urlacher, Mozgov, and Blackistone.
Happy 46th birthday to Tony Baselli.
Happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
What about Gubiza?
Wow, that's a good one.
Came over from Europe. I'm wise to him, though.
Gubiza. How did Gubiza get big? Gubiza, one of the great names in the history of Kansas City sports.
Is it really?
Yes, but could Gubiza open for Biancalana? Or is Biancalana too cumbersome?
More prog rocky.
Yeah, I don't think Gubiza could do that. Could he open for Saberhagen?
Oh, man, they were great.
Wow. Did anyone nominate though Yager? Has Yager been nominated yet as a heavy metal band?
No.
Happy 57th birthday to Boomer Esiason.
Happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
Kasperitis.
Now, wait a minute. If Biancalana can't be a metal band, why does Kasperitis get to be one? It seems like there are too many syllables there.
I mean, who's going to get tickets to Biancalana? I mean, Kasperitis sounds right. Hey, I'm going to Kasperitis tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love death metal. I hated how hair bands ruined everything. When Prescott came along, it just ruined everything.
Yeah.
Roy, a big metal expert back there. What are we supposed to do with Dwayne Wade yesterday took over basketball for a night? with one of those throwback games, and it was just mid-range jumpers. It's actually hard sometimes to watch Dwayne playing these days because you remember the athlete that he used to be and the idea that he has to get by on craftiness and stuff when he was the height of athleticism at one point. It's amazing to watch that evolution, and it's amazing to see it beat and shoot over Ben Simmons, the future of that position at that size.
You're asking what we do with it as content creators having to drive sports talk radio?
Yes.
Well, naturally, you have that performance, and you start asking, where does Dwayne Wade rank all-time two guards? Because a lot of people have him above Jerry West, some people have him below.
Well, didn't yesterday with some of the baskets he made, didn't he? Where did he pass Larry Bird? He passed Jerry West. He passed Jerry West in some categories, or a category.
Yeah, all-time playoff scoring. He passed Bird. Who was
okay, so let's do this. As the national and international historic reputation, who's better? Put it on the poll, Guillermo. A serious sports poll. Dwayne Wade or Larry Bird? Go.
No, we're losing that one.
Yeah,
we're losing that one, Heat fans.
Yep.
Not winning that one. Yep. Another thing, Kobe is looked at more fondly than Dwayne Wade in history. But when you look at the stats, especially the efficiency and the advanced metrics and the counting stats when it just comes to defensively, what kind of player? And I know Kobe at his prime was a great defensive player, but Dwayne Wade...
Doesn't Dwayne have more blocks than any guard ever?
Yeah. Yep. Most block shots by a guard.
I'm putting those careers next to each other, and I'm asking you in the audience, Larry Bird, Dwayne Wade, choose. I don't think that's an easy choice. Like people might lose that because of the mythology around Larry Bird.
Well, that's why, Dan. Wade. I think Wade is actually the answer, but everyone's going to go with Larry Bird.
Okay, that's fine, and they can go with Larry Bird. But I'm talking about. I'm doing this off the top of my head. When I think of those two careers, and my eyes might be lying to me, I think of Dwayne Wade as every bit as good as Larry Bird. Larry Bird was more of a novelty because he's the white guy, but we remember something different about Larry Bird, which is crazy shooter, and he never made 100 threes in a season. Like they've revolutionized what crazy shooter means in that league. The evolution makes it so that Larry Bird as a shooter is less special than he would be in today's game.
But obviously a different time. I think at the time, Larry Bird, a 6'10" forward, was hitting a lot of threes for a guy at that time.
Correct. He was a pioneer for sure.
Wade's number 2 all-time for a guard. Jordan's number 1, but Wade is number 1 for guards 6'4" and under. In fact, number 1 overall for players 6'4" and under.
Yeah, Bird was a bigger star nationally, I think. He helped define the NBA for a period.
Hold on a second. I'm not talking about symbolism definitions. I'm talking about who's better. I'm not talking about emotions. I'm not talking about I'm legend. I'm not talking about myth. I'm talking about look at the numbers and don't tell me who. Do it like a taste test. Don't tell me which one's which. Look at the numbers and tell me who's better. I don't know the answer to the question I'm asking.
I mean, 50% from the field for his career, Larry Bird. Dwayne Wade, 48. I mean, I'm just looking at some of the stuff that you like. Bird's obviously, I think, percentage-wise, a better three-point shooter. Points, slight edge to Bird. I don't have any of that plus-minus stuff, though. I don't know about that.
Well, you'd also throw in 3 MVPs for Bird and none for Dwayne.
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty big one.
That is Straight Talk and is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless.
There's that. There's that.
Sorry, Dwayne. Love your wine.
Yeah, loved your wine in 2014.
So it's settled. It's Bird.
Don Batard.
Our show's brown. We got Guillermo, Mike, and I are brown. Roy is black. Stugotz, Chris, and Cote are white. So our median is brown.
Stugotz.
And the brown guys, when you pronounce it Laraniega with the Enye, which is just a bit of pandering that he did here, the brown guys make the faces of people who are smelling something bad.
Why?
Because it sounds ridiculous, first of all.
Really?
Yes. Well, but it sounds doubly so coming out of your mouth.
Laraniega.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Brian Windhorst going to join us in just a minute here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We always love having him on. Here's your Sports Center update. Desiree Linden became the first American woman since 1985 to win the Boston Marathon. Congratulations to her. That is awesome. The Knicks have not expressed interest in former coach Jeff Van Gundy. But Mike Woodson, they have interest there. What a joke. I hate being a Knicks fan, man. I do. Not a fan of this guy. And finally, Tesla reportedly failed to disclose some worker injuries at its factory, but has largely dismissed the story, alleging it was backed by a pro-union extremist organization. In more impactful news, Tesla missed its target for the Model 3 after announcing production delays. Shocking. Tesla's future as a mass-market automaker is directly tied to the success of the Model 3. More than 400,000 people have pre-ordered, one paying $1,000 refundable fees to do so. This guy's a joke. I'm telling you, he's taking your money. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day. He's taking your money and not giving you anything back. That's the problem. Ideas, dreams.
Windhorst will perform here in moments. We will get a taste of some Windhorst. Is Saltalamacchia a good band?
They were good.
Saltalamacchia was good?
Great.
Yeah?
Fantastic.
So would they headline over Mustakas, or would Mustakas headline over Saltalamacchia?
Wow. In 2018, you go Mustakas.
Yeah.
I want to also ask on the poll, please, Guillermo, put this on the poll. What was the more ridiculous opinion had in the last segment? Me saying Wade might be as good as Bird, or Stugotz saying Pearl Jam is better than the Beatles and the Rolling Stones?
I said the Beatles, not the Stones. I'm not certain about the Stones.
No, you did. You're still okay. The jury's still out on that one.
Yeah,
I mean, the Beatles are overrated. Might be the most cliched take in the history of opinion.
Well, listen, I was the first one to say it, so everyone's following me. Okay, so I mean, same thing with Windhorst here. Okay, I was the first one to say LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard. They are together. Their off seasons are tied together. Then I heard Windhorst say it the other day. Amin sent it to me, and now I'm thinking about suing Windhorst because I own Windhorst, just so you know. Any conversations about LeBron, Kawhi, free agency, playing together next year, I own those conversations.
Windhorst, he was threatening to sue you by text yesterday for taking that Kawhi Leonard LeBron story, whatever it was. Stugotz was threatening an in-house lawsuit.
I heard that he came up with the concept of having a show in a barbershop, too. And he's involved in those lawsuits as well.
Ooh, Windhorst, they don't have any time. What are you reporting exactly, though? Because Stugotz did say, as soon as all this started happening, hey, LeBron is going to get Kawhi.
I'm not bringing out a measuring stick on this one, but this has been something that's been talked about for weeks. Just because it got blasted out yesterday, I can't help it. But we've got two parallel universes happening in the NBA right now. We have the playoffs that are going on, and they're very important, and we're our daily focus. And then we have this coming off season where LeBron's going to be a free agent, and Paul George is going to be a free agent, and Kawhi Leonard may be on the market, and the Philadelphia 76ers have this beautiful, glowing trove of assets that they have, including the Lakers pick, which is the 10th pick, which everybody seems to forget that they have that. If it pops up into the top three, it may go to Boston, but probably not. And so not only are the Sixers a team that has a great-looking future, this summer they have salary cap space and trade assets and that lottery pick and their own first-round pick. They could make a trade offer for just about anybody in the league.
It's just a perfect way for him to age, Brian. To stay in the East, do it with the best young people, and see if you could go get Golden State in the finals that way.
I mean, I don't know how much you want to get into the nitty-gritty of this, but Kawhi Leonard, even though he's under contract for next year, if he'd like to be traded, he can control where he goes. Because with only 1 year on his contract, a team is not going to give up everything for him unless they know he wants to stay. So he could choose where he wants to go. There are also people who would argue that if the Sixers were able to put together a trade that could get Kawhi Leonard, that they wouldn't even want or need LeBron James. That having LeBron and Ben Simmons on the same team is a duplication, and that having Kawhi and Covington and those other guys potentially, and Embiid, of course, is the championship team that they want. But there's also the possibility that Kawhi won't want to go to Philly. That Kawhi will want to go someplace else. There's a possibility Kawhi could want to go to Miami. And that's really what the Heat need. The Heat are in a position where they're capped out and they don't really, they're out a couple of first-round picks. What the Heat need is what happened with last year with Chris Paul. And that was Chris Paul going to the Clippers and saying, you're going to trade me to the Rockets, or I'm going to walk away from you for nothing. And the Clippers had to make a trade. It was not a great trade. It did okay, but they got worse as a team because of it. But they had, frankly, a proverbial, gun to their head. LeBron and Kawhi Leonard have the same cards they can play. People don't realize this. LeBron has the Chris Paul option in his contract. And unlike Chris Paul, who had to leave a lot of money on the table, LeBron's option next year is about what the max contract is. LeBron could go to the Cavs and say, trade me to this team, or I'm walking away from you and nothing. And the Cavs would probably have to do it. And so it doesn't just have to be a team with cap space that goes after LeBron or Kawhi Leonard. So that's all that's happening now, and that's all the subplot. And the Sixers not only have this incredible team that has a chance to get to the finals, they have a wonderful, incredible window to add to their team this summer that potentially sets them up to be ahead of Boston and those other teams as the Cavs graduate out of their competition phase.
What did you say about Kawhi Leonard?
Say it again.
Coming to Miami?
One more time. Say it again.
What?
That somebody at some point is going to want to play for the Heat again, and that's really what the Heat have to hope for.
Yes, we'll take it. We'll take it. Somebody eventually is going to want to play for the Heat again.
We'll talk to you next segment.
Catch more of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz, 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Dan Le Batard.
Tom Ricketts is saying that the Cubs will not allow Sammy Sosa back into that organization for anything moving forward until he comes clean. And what I find absurd about that, and what a hypocrite this guy is that family made hundreds of millions of dollars off the name Sammy Sosa. By the way, he never tested positive for steroid use. And if he was using steroids, which we all assume that he was, my guess is if he was using it, the Ricketts family had an inkling that was going on in their own clubhouse. And for him to come out many, many years later and say Sammy Sosa must come clean for us to allow him back into our prestigious organization, our club, get out of here with that.
Stugotz.
Yeah, Ricketts didn't make money off Sammy Sosa. He won the bid in 2009. This was post-Sammy Sosa.
Well, that ruins my argument.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Tune in today to the Stephen A. Smith Show as NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will join him at 1:05 Eastern. Here's your SportsCenter update. The Royals-Blue Jays game was postponed due to ice chunks falling on top of the Rogers Center's dome, causing roof damage. The Knicks are interviewing Mark Jackson for their coaching vacancy. And finally, Hulu has landed a multi-part documentary series about Firefest. This series aims to uncover the truth, though a series of in-depth interviews from inside sources that range from local Bahamians, stranded festival goers, vendors, and investors. In addition, the docuseries will include hours of exclusive, never-before-seen footage, leaked documents, emails, and recordings. I actually want to see that. That's pretty good. Firefest. Fire. For all the latest headlines and information, tune to the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Greg Cote of the Miami Herald has not yet done his Back in My Day. He does not have confidence in today's Back in My Day. He has given his Back in My Day to his son for review. We will find out in the next hour whether Greg Cote is brave enough to do his Back in My Day in the next hour. In the interim, you guys have heard of this Sean Penn book, this novel that is getting just torched everywhere. Sean Penn is, in many ways, what a lot of people don't like about Hollywood, just his face. It's also his spending and his politics and his elitism, but it's his face.
No, you're right. He does. He has an unlikable face.
Okay, and really so, all right, put it on the poll, Guillermo. Does Sean Penn have an unlikable face? Who else has one of those, by the way? Who in sports has the unlikable face? It's just his face.
Has it always been that way for Sean Penn? Like when he was
Not when he was younger.
No? Right.
No.
Right. It was lovable almost.
I mean, when he was Spicoli, it was better.
Yeah.
But we do this with everybody. We do this with everybody in the history of entertainment. We will love you once and then chew you up and then spit you out and make fun of your novel. But what I like that Sean Penn has done here, or Sean Penn's people, on this book that is getting crushed. This is a great ad in the New York Times today. It begins with, "The critics agree." And then it reads, "Honestly, shut your face, Sean Penn. Sean Penn, the novelist, must be stopped. Ignore Sean Penn." These are different. This is the Chicago Tribune, the Huffington Post. Is Bob Honey wildly offensive? Reader, it is. Perplexing and unquantifiable by design, according to the New York Times. This was from The Guardian. Repellent on one level, but stupid on so many others. So what they write is, the critics agree, read it and decide for yourself. And then at the end of it, for counterpoints, by Salman Rushdie, Jane Smiley, Paul Theroux, Stuart Dybek, Sarah Silverman, Bill Maher, and others, go to SimonandSchusterPublishing.com/Bob Honey.
Wow.
The book's going to sell like crazy.
Oh, that's
right?
brilliant.
Like the whole thing, he is trafficking in his fame. This might be an elaborate Joaquin Phoenix joke for all I know. Sean Penn writing a novel because he believes he could sell anything on his fame.
Yeah, could be an inside joke. Hey, here's what I'm going to do. No, you can't. Yeah, I will. Watch me.
It's as if everyone, when we ask the question about annoying faces in sports, rush to their phone and text us Jay Cutler.
Is that the one? Is Eli Manning? Does Eli Manning have a likable face? Like, what is
Grayson Allen?
Now, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on. You guys are
senior.
You guys are bringing the unlikable resume. Derek Jeter doesn't have an unlikable face.
Oh, yes, he does.
Grayson Allen wins the game.
Grayson Allen does.
Yeah.
It's really bad. I'll give you a good one, Mike. Do an image search on this. Jonathan Papelbon.
I don't need an image search.
Hold on a second.
Because I hate his face.
Hold on a second. Grayson Allen, are you sure you're not combining Grayson Allen's face with his resume? Are you positive?
Positive. Positive. First time I saw him, knew I didn't like him. And that was before he started doing dirty things on the court.
Listen, I'm going to refresh your memory. I'm going to turn my computer around. There's a picture of Grayson Allen. You tell me.
Oh, I know what Grayson Allen looks like, Stugotz. Thank you for the photograph of Grayson Allen.
Sometimes you need your memory jarred, man. That's a punchable face. I mean, jeez.
So I'm not really looking for punchable faces. Aren't punchable faces something different? I'm talking about, you see a face, I don't like that person. I don't have any other information other than that person's face. Look at what swept over me. I don't like you. How often does that happen? Because I feel like Jay Cutler's general attitude confuses this. Eli Manning's general, why the long face, confuses this, whether he's winning the title or 2-14.
It's a chicken and egg situation, though, because you don't know if Cutler has that attitude because he's saddled with that face.
Yeah.
That is the conundrum, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like Johnny Manziel has an unlikable face. He's got that same quality.
Well, but what are we doing just affluenza here? Or are we doing just white faces that look like they've had it very easy and are also resumes that are annoying?
I have what everyone considers to be the definitive list of the 50 most punchable faces in sports.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Finally, someone found something somewhere.
Circa 2011. Thank you,
do this.
Bleacher Report.
All right, hold on a second. Let's do this. 50 on down. Boom. Let's go.
Oh, wait, you want 50?
50.
Hold on.
Let's go from 50.
Okay.
But that's it. Punchable faces. Get the fanfare. Now we find it. This is the history of sports?
Yeah.
The definitive list on the history of punchable faces in sports.
As of 2011.
Okay.
Yes. Yep, as of 2011. Ready for number 50?
Yes, let's bang through these as fast as we can.
Tim Lincecum.
No.
This is a very dated list.
Hold on a
already.
second. Let's go to number 40 then. That's no good. 50's no good. Let's go to number 40.
All right, let's hold on a second. I got to scroll down here. Let's stop at 45. Notre Dame Athletics.
I mean, that's not a really punchable face.
You want me to go down to 40 here? Let's go to 40. Bill Plaschke.
That's a good one. No, that's a good one. That's a good place to start. Let's start there.
There was a tie, actually, and Woody Page.
Yeah, both of them. That's fine. They deserve it. All right, 39, Stugotz.
Albert Hainsworth.
Ooh, it is a dated list. 38.
Johnny Damon.
Oof, dated.
Good one at 37, though. Josh Beckett.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Is this 2007?
I don't know. 34, Mel Kiper. 33, Peyton and Eli. 32, Keyshawn. I I actually agree with this one. 31, Don Cherry.
What? Don Cherry has a punchable face? You agree with that?
Totally did.
Number 30. I thought it was the suits with him, not the face.
I'm skipping down to 28. It's a tie between Chris Collinsworth, Skip Bayless. 27, Tom Brady. 25, the Glazer brothers.
Which Glazers? Malcolm and the ones who own the Bucks?
Yes.
I think Jay Glazer might sneak in there too, though, wouldn't he?
Perhaps. We'll see if he's
You
up
punch
here.
him in the face, he'll punch you right back in the face.
23, I think you'll agree, Kyle Busch.
Yes.
Okay, now we're getting good. Let's go here. And here we go. Let's sail into the sky with the top 20.
22, Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, all right, now we're doing it.
21, Carlos Zambrano.
What?
I agree with that one, actually. 19, Cortland Finnegan.
That's true.
I got a great one here. 18, Apollo Ono.
Wow.
That's a rare speed skater on the list.
Number 16, a tie, Peter King. And Roger Goodell.
Yes. Oh, this list is getting good now.
Number 13, totally agree, Rafael Nadal.
Yeah.
Number 12, Phil Hellmuth.
That's not pronounced correctly,
I
but
don't
that's
care.
okay. The poker player.
Number 11, Ronaldo.
Yeah, that's a good one.
10, Kobe. 9 is a tie between Phillip Rivers and Jay Cutler. Manny Ramirez. McElroy.
Really?
Dan Snyder.
No, hold on a second.
What happened there?
Is that Rory? What's his last name?
Rory McIlroy. Look at it right there?
Yes, you nailed
McElroy.
it. You nailed it.
When I don't think, that's what happened. Sean Avery, 5. T.O., number 4. Colin Cowherd, number 3.
Yes! Yes! Wait a minute. Low-ranked Colin Cowherd. It should be higher.
A-Rod, number 2.
Not anymore. J-Lo fixed it.
And number 1.
Wait a minute. Happy birthday to Rooney Mara, 33 years old. 33
Happy
years old.
birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
No, don't. Is Rooney no, Rooney's not a he.
No, that's a woman.
Yeah, it doesn't really work.
Actress. Baby.
Put him in a tough spot.
Yeah. What happened?
Brian Kelly's got to be in the top 50.
Rummaging.
No?
That's Notre Dame
Notre Dame
Athletics.
Athletics.
I think it's a funny one, actually, Notre Dame Athletics. Why isn't Duke on there?
Tyler Hansbrough got a punchable face. Tyler Hansbrough.
Yes.
He also looks like he combat rolls when he's playing paintball. Here we go. What's your go-to food if you haven't pooped in a while? If you do not know what it is that we are doing right now, whenever the pyramid music plays, we go to the magic creative content. We have to stop everything we're doing and answer the question.
It's not really a food, but it's a drink for me. Sunny D.
Really?
Yeah, Sunny
Sunny
D.
Delight.
I also have a beverage, a big glass of apple juice.
Oh.
You have Cody?
Bacon.
Bacon.
Oh, it greases it right out, baby.
Cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar.
It's as if he was waiting for that question his entire life, man. We found his wheelhouse. And he's right.
What's the most unlikable face in the history of sports?
Oh, you wanted it?
Did you forget?
LeBron James.
Don Batard.
What do you think?
I don't know, Greg. What do you think?
Well, it used to be that
What just happened?
Stugotz.
I ask you a question.
Yeah.
You give me nothing, and you funnel it off to scared guy who's scared of the clock. Or how about we just talk, and one of you guys answer my question?
what was the question again?
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
If you missed any of the show, you can listen to all 3 hours of the Dan Le Batard Show on demand in the ESPN app, plus our Miami-only hour that is before the show. And now you can subscribe to our Best of podcast. It's all available in the Listen tab of the ESPN app.
Texter writes in, that list was very dated. You, Le Batard, clearly have the most punchable face. Speed bag jowls. You are correct. Joel Embiid, what do you make? What do you make of Joel Embiid saying he's, quote, bleeping sick and tired of being babied? You have a 7-foot extraterrestrial with a skill set unseen in a body of that kind. They have been very careful with him. Right. They should be. If he is healthy, he will be one of the 10 best basketball players to have ever played.
I agree with that. They've been saying forever, trust the process. He's been saying forever, trust the process. You don't stop trusting the process because you lose a game to the Miami Heat in the first round of the playoffs. Like, he's hurt, man.
But he's hurt, but he wants to come back, and the hurt is to the face, which is a different kind of place to have the hurt. Guys can play through face stuff all the time. Are you worried about a re-injury of the orbital bone? What are you worried about? Because this isn't a knee. It's not an ankle.
Right.
We're not doctors.
But, Dan, I think it was concussion stuff. I'm checking on it. That's what I'm talking about.
No, but he passed the concussion protocol.
I know he's out of protocol, but, I mean, they're taking their time with a guy that they value very, very much. I understand. He's a competitor, wants back in the game, but the Sixers have done it this way for quite some time now, and it's working.
Yes, but the thing about this one that makes it different is I believe the entire audience would say, of course, macro over micro, long-term over short-term. His long-term health matters more than anything in the now. But the face changes it. It's not an ankle. It's not a knee. It's not a hip. It's not something. It's just the face.
Right.
Like, so what are they protecting? What are they protecting that the mask is not protecting, that their star player would say, frustrated, I'm sick and tired of being babied?
Well, they're erring on the side of caution, which they should, and they also realize that the relationship between this guy and Hassan Whiteside is such that Whiteside is all of a sudden going to be a very physical player with the guy wearing a mask. And so why would you rush it? They still think they're better than the Heat. They're not scared of a 1-1 series.
They like the matchup better without Embiid, is what you're saying. They like the Sixers do, which sounds crazy. Do they like
that? That doesn't sound like it could possibly be right.
Is it possible?
I mean,
you guys are telling me that in today's league, Ilyasova is more valuable than Embiid? That's the argument we're going to make.
No, that's not what I meant to say, but why not be cautious when you are the orbital bone, man? The orbital bone has ended careers. I mean, that's when you get a fastball to the face, that's what happened to Giancarlo Stanton.
But that is, I mean, Giancarlo Stanton's still playing, and he's the highest paid player in sports and the MVP of the league.
Yeah, and he was out for a year and a half, and that injury has ended careers.
Has it?
Yes, Tony Conigliaro of the Red Sox in 1967.
But in baseball, not in this sport, right?
Man,
all it takes is an elbow to that mask.
He's been sitting on that information
Hold
for a
on
while.
a second. He gave us the exact year, which points out that is more than 50-year-old information that Greg Cote just blew
info, man. Info's info. Doesn't change. Facts is facts. Look it up.
I don't need to look it up. I know it's true. And I know you also just blew cobwebs across this show.
Is facts, Jack.
You all knew he was going to say exactly that? You guys, all three of you, who won the betting pool? They started pumping their fists. What, the betting pool was facts is facts, Jack. He was going to ignore everything I said after that.
Oh, were you talking?
Hold on a second. We're in the middle of the NBA playoffs. My good friend and colleague, Greg Cote of the Miami Herald, just referenced Tony Conigliaro.
Yeah.
A 1967 baseball player.
God rest his soul, by the way. That injury not only ended his career, but shortened his life. What a sad story. Tony C.
Yeah.
What a tandem he and Yaz would have been. Red Sox had it made. George Boomer Scott at first base, Reggie Smith patrolling center field, Joe Foy at third. Man, Joe Lonborg. Crazy lineup. One of the best ever. And then Tony C. got that injury. Jack Hamilton of the Angels hit him. Went down like a sack of dirt. Got back up. Heroically had a great season in 69, I believe it was.
Nice.
Petered out of the league. And the rest is sad Red Sox history. Getting emotional just talking about it.
Hey, this is Wade Jones, and you're listening to the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Dan Le Batard.
Jordy Nelson had a goose egg. Unbelievable. What are the odds? Money in the bank, that guy normally. Best Nelson since Ricky Nelson in the 60s.
Stugotz.
Hands up if you remember Ozzie and Harriet. Put them up.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Sean Penn Performance Line. Here's your Sports Center update. The Royals-Blue Jays game was postponed due to ice chunks falling on top of the Rogers Center's dome, causing roof damage. The Knicks are interviewing Mark Jackson for their coaching vacancy. And finally, Kanye West is writing a book about philosophy called Break the Simulation. Oy. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Guillermo, put this on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. A guy writes in, person writes in, Pablo Torre is a unanimous first ballot punchable face Hall of Famer. Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Is Pablo Torre, of soon to be, of a television show, allegedly, on ESPN with Bomani Jones and ESPN the magazine, is he a first ballot punchable face Hall of Famer? Marty Smith has written in with a very important contribution to the show. He says peanut butter mixed into Greek yogurt will help you poop. Peanut butter mixed into Greek yogurt. Our thanks to Marty Smith for always chiming in.
Sounds good.
We've got a new segment around here that we're going to try. We have no idea when we swing, if we're going to make contact or we're going to swing and miss on funny. But we're going to take these big, giant Dan Ugla hacks. and we'll just see what happens with the results.
Big hacks. That's the go-to guy, right? Dan Ugla. It's him or Dave Kingman, correct?
I mean, big hacks. Are those my only two choices? Why are those my only two choices? There are guys throughout the sport now and forever that have been big hacks. Why are my only two choices Dan Ugla and Dave Kingman?
Well, I can't think of the modern-day guy, the guy who's playing right now, okay? Because Ugla is modern-day, but he's retired.
It's
Ugla.
Every guy playing right now.
I guess it's Stanton, maybe.
It's that guy who hits
size hacks.
No,
Chris Davis.
It's the guy who's hitting 200 for the Rangers, but hits 40 bombs every year and strikes out 5,000 times.
Joey Gallo.
Joey Gallo. Everybody in the sport is Joey Gallo.
I think
now.
Joey Gallo, I'll check it in a second, was 191 with 45 homers last year.
Okay, but hold on a second.
Love his wine, though.
Loves the wine. You know what? I'm going to send Cody here to the penalty
by the
box.
gallon.
I'm going to send Cody out of here to the penalty box, but the penalty box right now, because we've got very cramped studios, isn't an actual penalty box.
Apologies to Joey Gallo. It was 209.
So the penalty box for the moment is a therapist's couch. This was
there now?
Yes, get out of here, please. He's got a 2-minute penalty for show killing. He's Greg Cote of the Miami Herald. Quit your funny muttering away from the microphone and go get on the therapist's couch. Now, I don't know how we're going to do this, Mike. How do you want to set this up? Does the therapist couch out there have sound? How do we get all of this set up?
We were hoping for sound today, but too difficult to get done. We hope for sound for tomorrow.
Okay, so we are in the communication industry, and I was told before the show that the sound would be ready. I've just sent Greg Cote out there, and we don't have any sound in a business where if people don't hear us, that's probably bad.
Yeah, we were testing. The sound was working, and now it's not.
Okay, We'll keep it out there, and we'll throw Greg Cote to the therapist's couch. And in the interim, I don't know what we could possibly do in terms of filibustering. How about my favorite color?
Dan's favorite colors: orange, yellow, purple, pink, blue, magenta, green. Which color will he choose? 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 Which color will he choose today?
Where are we on this godforsaken list? Guillermo, does anyone in the back room there have where we are on this list of mine? It is the 40 favorite colors in in the history of color.
We're at number 11 right now. I mean, unofficially, you have given us 11, but it's not official until the open place.
What? No, because I already told you that 11 was Navy and that 10 was mint cream.
Now 11 is Navy, and if you still want to go with mint cream, that will be tomorrow.
We'll find out tomorrow.
But if this list is so important, why is it that we didn't even do this yesterday?
Oh, that's right. Bonus pick today, if you'd like.
Yeah, give us two. 2 days.
I already gave you 2. I gave you Navy and mint cream.
Now mint cream is official.
No, but I mean, a 9 is lace wing. I've got 9.
Whoa. Didn't hear it.
9.
Didn't hear it.
All right, so anyways, that's the list. That's where we are in the list, somewhere along the list. And
should we go to Rick Springfield's favorite color?
Well, but I wanted to go to Cote in the therapist couch. Can you guys call Rick Springfield real quick, please? Get Rick Springfield, 80s icon, Jesse's girl.
Do.
Thank you. And now the 16th or 15th favorite, okay.
Springfield's favorite color.
Love this.
Orange, yellow, purple, pink. Blue, magenta, green. Will he choose which color? 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 Will he choose today?
All right, so Rick Springfield's 20th favorite color was scarlet. 19 is purple. 18 is mango. 17 is puce. Now, he's already told us number 1 is turquoise, so I don't know why we're doing the list this way. But number 16th favorite color of Rick Springfield is?
Apricot. Feeling hungry.
Okay, all right.
Excellent.
Is it pronounced apricot or apricot?
He does that. Weird.
Apricot.
Apricot. Yes.
He says apricot.
Yeah. Well, fine for Springfield and Dan.
Yep.
Why is it a fine for me?
You said apricot.
Yeah,
Nobody pronounces it like that.
Yes. Springfield was much closer. In fact, Springfield, you're fine. Dan, fine for you.
Right.
So Greg Cote was on the therapist couch and the sound wasn't working out there, so he came back in here. What were you saying to the therapist? Just if we had done this visual bit when you were laying on the couch with the green screen in what was clearly a therapist's office, and if the microphone had worked, and if ESPN had sound that they could pipe down and allow people in radio to hear, what were you muttering to your therapist out there on the new therapist's couch?
The therapist asked me, "How are you feeling?" And I immediately went into the idea that this alleged magazine, Slate, had disparaged me, and that I felt like, in the movie Absence of Malice, where I had a role as an extra, Sidney Pollack joint, and Sally Field went through neighborhoods. She was a newspaper woman. She went through neighborhoods collecting newspapers because she was so mortified by some error she had written. And I felt like the same thing with Slate magazine. I was getting ready to go through my neighborhood and pilfer slates out of all the mailboxes because I was so mortified that they would do this alleged comprehensive story on the show, but fail to mention me in even the least iota of reference. And so I was personally embarrassed by that. I was getting ready to steal all the slates, not only from the mailboxes in my neighborhood, but also from, the supermarkets. But then I discovered, I don't even know if Slate makes a magazine anymore. It might just be a .com, so I couldn't find any.
Slate.
Yeah, it was a Slate Slite, and that's a tongue twister. I tried to say it 5 times, and then my therapist said the session's over. Slate Slite, Slate Slite, Slate Slite, Slate Slite, Slate Slite, Slate Slite. It's a tongue twister. Try it.
Slate, slite, 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 slate, slate, slate.
So it's not a tongue twister for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm out of breath.
So what happened with the therapist? Because it sounds like you're just complaining that Slate wrote a big article about the show and you weren't mentioned in it. But what happened to the bit of what it is that you were going to, what is it that you're feeling about all this? I'd like to get to the source of your feelings. As someone who has criticized Dwayne Wade, and Dwayne Wade has come back at you and said, let's not get up in your feelings. Yeah. What are your feelings about this disrespect that Slate wrote a big article about how we're America's biggest and best radio show, and Greg Cote was never mentioned?
Yeah, and by the way, I want to say that I apologize to Dwayne Wade personally, because I did regret that tweet. I don't like to feel underappreciated. Okay?
So you think Slate should apologize to you?
Oh, of course. I think they should have the equivalent of a set rec. A journalism
Well, they had
set
one.
rec.
They did have an editorial mistake that they pointed out in the article. They said the Clevelander does not overlook the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
That was the thing that they corrected in that article.
That's a minor error.
Yeah, that was a funny error to correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mike, does Greg Cote have a right to be hurt by this? Because I think he does, but you can't control. He knows as a writer, you cannot control what the writer writes.
Yeah, but I mean, every other guest co-host somehow got themselves into that great piece.
Yeah, they were mentioned in terms of being a part of our universe, but it was really about Dane and Stugotz, the article.
Of course, and should have been.
It wasn't about the co-hosts. They were just quoted.
No question about it. But, co-hosts occasional co-hosts who are on the show less regularly than myself were mentioned, and I just thought it was a slight. I was insulted by it.
A slight.
Exactly.
I think he's right.
Slight by slate.
So do I.
I don't think there's any disputing that. But how can we possibly complain about this when this writer wrote this wonderful thing about our show, which, honest to God, if I'd written it myself, it wouldn't have sounded better for us than if I'd sat down and tried to write something from my selfish perspective.
It was that good, huh?